Oh yeah, no, I think you're. Thank you. And Sauvignon Blanc, that's really been the flagship of Murphy Good. When the winery started in '85, my father was one of the founders. Tim Murphy, Dale Good, and originally, we left the Ready off the label because we didn't want to come up with this new premium winery called Good and Ready.
Right.
And
Or you're starting to sound like a law firm.
well, we could, because they're always good and ready for business, huh? So we started with the Sauvignon Blanc. Stylistically, we've pretty much been true, to what we started with through all of these years. Probably, we definitely backed off on oak, in the late '80s, early '90s. I mean, oak was what California wine was. And
Right.
the more oak you got into it, the better scores you got, the more people wanted to drink it, and eventually that changed, and for the better. There's still wines made out there, and you know some, and people love them, but it's just oak bombs. So
This is actually, the thing I like about this is, so I'm more of a Sauvignon Blanc kind of guy.
yeah,
So, clean, crisp, that's what I like. And that's exactly what this is. This has a subtle, an easier going finish though. Where does that come from?
Well, so I do barrel ferment about 25% of this wine, but in seasoned French oak barrels, meaning they've been used to really get all that oak characteristic out. So, aromatically, you don't pick up any of that toast, vanilla, any oak, nuances. But what it does is it adds texture to the wine. A lot of wineries now, they leave residual sugar in their Sauvignon Blancs,
Right.
and I personally just really don't like that style. Because what sugar can do is it can add texture, and it doesn't necessarily make it sweet. But often, there's a few out there that I think kind of cross that line of threshold, where people can perceive the sugar.
Well, there's starting to be a whole market of it now where they're doing that.
There is,
And
and
they're adding the bubbles to it and all that kinds of stuff.
right. But this, I want it crisp, clean,
Right.
dry. The fruit, that's what's awesome about Sauvignon Blanc is that the spectrum of flavors in Sauvignon Blanc is bigger than just about any other varietal. We get, that cat pea, that diesel fuel characteristics, right, from Australia and France,
Right.
and the spectrum comes all the way up to pineapple. And you've got the green beans and the asparagus, and then
Well, and the thing that I like too is that you get a lot of grapefruit from a lot of different Sauvignon Blancs.
Right.
It's not that tart, puffery grapefruit that you get from this.
yeah, and, well, I think this really covers the fruit half of the spectrum very nicely. We get some tropical fruit nuances from the Alexander Valley fruit. We get the stone fruit, peach characteristic from Mendocino, and then we use some fruit from Lake County, which is part of the estate. And we've got some volcanic soils up there. We get some really nice minerality, and then some stuff down in the bench where you get more of that that fruit salad. So I think you're really covering that slice of the spectrum really well.
Right.
Just refreshing, and it's such a great wine, especially in Minnesota. A day like today, it actually feels pretty good to me. It's about 90 out, a little bit
you missed
humid.
it. Trust me, this is the best it's gotten in quite a while. It's been 40, 60.
Well,
snow.
California's been awful. It's just been rain.
Well, I'll
and
take your
it's-
California.
I'm telling you, the weather's better here right now. But this is just such a great wine for sipping out. Now, this we didn't mention. This actually has the screw cap closure, which I am really loving.
I'm a big fan of screw caps.
It's so convenient. Yeah, I always keep some in the fridge, and it holds better. If you're not able to finish a bottle of wine, it stays better in the fridge, and mostly because when you put a cork back into the bottle, you jam it down in, so you're forcing air
Into the
Right.
oxygen right into
so
the
we've
wine.
got pressure, and so that wine starts to oxidize. This just seems to hold better. Not that I have a big issue finishing a bottle of wine at my house, but if I ever was to, this would be the way to go.
Right.
But great for
you
the
know,
boat, forget about it. Right?
And I try a bunch of different wines. So I have 6 wines sitting in the fridge with caps on. And those are the ones that I'll grab first because I know I'm not going to finish them. Just pour a little, put it back in the fridge, try something
You'll
else.
lay it down in your fridge if you don't, have fun.
At some point, it'll probably never replace corks altogether.
No,
But they're making inroads, and they're starting to see some wines go back to corks from the
yeah, there's a
cap.
few
I
that
don't know why
have,
they
there. Yeah, one of the wines that I started back in the day, Tin Roof did that. It drove me nuts.
Okay, I'll pour. This
Yeah, get you.
So, Dad grabbed
I've been
you by
talking
the-
so much I didn't have a chance to to finish it. We'll come back to that.
I'm gonna let you go. I'm gonna leave that. So Dad grabbed you by the ear, pulled you back, made you work in the winery. And then what was your progression from?
Well, you know,
Did he have you
originally,
sweeping floors at
you know,
first, or-
my plan. What was that?
Did he have you sweeping floors at first?
Oh yeah, I mean when I first started, you know, 88, 89, you know, I mean I was a cellar rat, so I would work on the bottling line, I'd pull hoses to here and here. You know, I mean it was something that I had never done. I mean when I lived in Minnesota, you know, I worked at a car wash in Edina, the Wave Car Wash over in Vernon, and you know that's what I did. We called it. I was a water displacement engineer. And, you know, 'cause I tried cars. And so one day, you know, sitting around, you know, I think we should be water displacement engineers. And then, so that's just what we were. You know, very high tech.
Right.
So, you know, when I got out to California, really, my plan was really to go more into sales, marketing. You know, because that's really, you know, that's what my father
You might
did.
have a personality for that.
And I like it, you know. I mean, I love coming out and visiting and talking
Right.
about wine, and you know, so that was what I was going to do. And you know, by the end of '93, you know, and my father and I were very, very close. You know, my best friend. We, you know, I'd go up after work, we'd have a cocktail, a glass of wine, talk about the day. We got together and watched every Minnesota Viking game together. You know, especially once it was on, you know, the NFL package and
Right.
whatnot. You know, Sunday mornings, you know, it's always during harvest. I always made sure that I get, you know, Sunday was my day where I wouldn't work, you know, a whole lot of hours. So I get in the morning, go check vineyards, kind of plan out what was going to happen Monday, and then I'd be, you know, at Dad's house at 10, California, and we'd start, watch all the Vikings games. So you know, we had a great repertoire, and we were talking one day, and I was like, you know, I'm not going into sales. This production